Hi, my name is Vanessa Davis and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create this look, which was inspired by Cirque du Soleil, Amaluna, and hope you enjoy my tutorial. Thank you. So here I'm beginning with the loose pigment eyeshadow from MAC. I've already laid down the true Chartreuse. That green one that I've just held up is the Teal, and that's a MAC brush. So just applying it there in the corners, patting it on, and then taking a clean brush, a clean MAC brush to blend the edges. I also used Spectrum. They are a brand of makeup brush from Wales, and they kindly sent me a couple of packets, well actually 4 packets of brushes. Very generous, thank you very much. So just blending and then just adding Chartreuse, which is another bright matte green over the top to just intensify the colour, and blending, and then primary yellow pigment from MAC into the corners of the eyes there. And it really requires quite a lot of patience and quite a lot of dabbing and blending, but eventually you do get there. I've got quite deep set eyes, so just requires creating a bit more care with the dimension. So then I went in with another sort of dark matte peacock green. Sorry guys, I don't know the name of that one. The palette I just showed up then was lots of empties that I had depotted and put into a clear palette, but all of them are from MAC. So just carrying on blending into the corners, into the lash line, that dark peacock green. I think I must have spent about half an hour doing the eyes on this one, just trying to blend and get the shape even. So then I took a liquid eyeliner in a navy blue from Urban Decay. I didn't choose black. I wanted to choose a slightly more harmonious colour for this makeup, and I thought navy blue would be better as I was going to be drawing the skull later on in navy. So I always tend to start off in the middle, work my way inside, and then wing it out at the end. So then I cleaned off the what we call the fallout, and then took my foundation, which I believe was a MAC foundation. It's Studio Sculpt in NW20, and then Makeup Forever Extreme Camouflage Concealer using a Zoeva brush, my rose gold limited edition Zoeva brush, which I treated myself to. And there we have the mineral powder, which is the final set, using a MAC brush. And then moving on to the eyebrows, that is my favourite eyebrow product, which is a Ben Nye. It's actually an eyeliner. Taking my favourite MAC angled brush and then drawing in the shape of the eyebrow. I find the angled brush is very useful for not only eyeliner but particularly sharp corners. You can also use the angled brush for lip liner, but I find it most useful for creating eyebrows. I generally only tend to draw my eyebrows this heavily for makeups and not really for everyday use. So moving on to the Mermaid tears. These sort of flat back tears, I bought them from eBay. Quite a random find, but they're really wonderful because they have sort of like a 3 tones, sort of blue, turquoise and green when you move them in different lights, and they look like tiny scales. So there I am applying them using Aquafix, which is a prosthetic water-based glue from Mold Life, and just randomly placing them over the face. I find that the Mold Life glue tends to work better on skin that doesn't have any makeup on it already, but for the sake of this makeup I had to apply them onto a made-up base. So next I'm drawing on the tears, and I'm using my new Meron palette from Tilt Makeup, thank you Tiago, using the navy blue colour to sketch out the tears, and then going in with the sort of vivid blue to colour them in, and just painting them in there, taking my time, using a very fine artist brush from Cass Art, which is a watercolour brush. I find they work the best. They're quite cheap, they're only a couple of pounds, and you don't ruin your other makeup brushes. Just drawing them on and then adding the highlighter in white so that they stand out a little more and appear more 3D. And taking step-by-step photos using my old iPhone. And now I'm just shading them in using a dark navy, just to add a little bit more definition in the tear shape. So I went in and shaded around the tears as well. And then moving on to the skull. So I've done most of the difficult bit, or the bit that I find the most time consuming. The easy bit, the autopilot for me, is actually drawing on the teeth. I'm using a MAC eyebrow mechanical pencil in stud, and just drawing out the shape there. I find that it's quite good because you don't need to sharpen it, and it's dark enough that you can see the lines, but light enough that it doesn't interfere with the colour when you colour in the paint. So going in with the vivid blue, just colouring in the negative space of the skull. I decided to stay away from black. I find black tends to look a bit more Halloween-y than other colours, and just to kind of mix it up a bit and just drawing and shading in those bits there. I didn't want to turn this into a full skull, just sort of like the jaw area. And then adding a bit of a highlighter and then painting in the teeth. I've learnt to leave the teeth till last because it means that I can then drink and express myself a bit more freely without having to worry about ruining the teeth. And then going into the nose, just there. And filling it in using various blues. So then I went on to sketch the neck piece. I had to do that a couple of times. As you can see, my neck looks a little bit red. That's because I drew it on and erased it, I think, twice before I was happy with the final sketch. And those little circles of colour there, I used a technique called, I think it's a single stroke, which I used a split cake from Chameleon to create that sort of shaded look, and then went over with a highlighter. And basically what you're creating are S shapes and then shading them in. It's quite a basic thing. In order to learn how to paint ruffles effectively, or to get an idea how to do them, I just Googled how to paint ruffles on Pinterest, and I find that a very good place for step-by-step on how to paint things. And now I'm just colouring in the shadow using my my Tilt, my new palette from Tilt by Meron. And this neck piece is supposed to represent the sort of ruff, the clown ruff, which is reminiscent of, well, my original inspiration, which was the Amaluna production of Cirque du Soleil. So now I'm just highlighting it using full coverage foundation in white from MAC, just to blend in the top there. I know it seems odd to use an oily based product with a water based product, but it seems to work well on top of face paints that have dried already. And then I'm going to paint in the teeth using, that's a very pale blue, not white, again to keep the colours harmonious. And this is just to act as a backdrop for the crystals I'm going to stick on. And then I went ahead and tested the crystals and just started to add a few on. They are drop shaped crystals because they resemble teeth. And the tool that I'm using there is from the Crystal Ninja, and it is a special tool designed to pick up crystals. It has a wax nib and it ensures that you can pick up the crystal securely for several minutes without it dropping, and then you can adhere it. So I'm continuing to paint the rest of the teeth once I was happy with how the crystals looked on the backdrop that I painted with the teeth. The lower teeth, I selected a Swarovski crystal which was much thinner so that it resembled narrower shaped teeth, as you can see. The upper teeth are droplet shaped and the lower teeth are sort of a very thin drop shape. Again, all purchased from eBay. It's important to remember to check the dimensions on eBay because sizing can be a little bit misleading. They tend to mark them in millimeters, so it's just handy to check a measuring tape. And then I'm taking some round ones in different sizes to resemble the molars there in the corner. My earring, one of the questions I got asked in my live chat was where did I get the silver earring on the right. It's not actually a gauge. It's a two-part earring which you can squeeze together to look like a sort of silver bone. And I got that from a shop in Camden. So now I'm going back in with the final detail of the teeth and I'm sticking tiny, tiny little droplet-shaped crystals, which are actually designed for nail art, just to accentuate that sort of little dimple above the tooth, that sort of shape there, just to add a little highlight almost. And just going in with each one and then positioning them using the other end of the tool, which was sent to me by the Crystal Ninja. I adhered the crystals using the Aquafix from Mold Life, which is the same prosthetic glue that I used to attach the mermaid tears. And then the final look was to stick on eyelashes. And here it is. I also used those round discs. I got sent those from Jazzy Glitter and they pick up the light very nicely. They're almost like sequins without holes. What's nice is you can see lots of different texture of sparkle there. Thank you for watching my tutorial.